You know, I'm a big old youth pastor at heart. I've spoken to about 2,500 public schools and for years did what Mike Gordon is doing in perhaps an unparalleled way. You're traveling everywhere.
Yes, sir.
850 speaking engagements. Tell us why.
Why? First of all, great to be on your show. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm sure some people were thinking you were interviewing a male model this morning. So we clarified, doing ministry. I have a heart for young people. I believe God, He works. I believe God can change any lives. And with my story, how I got to this point really connects with why I'm doing this. When I was 13, my parents broke up and my mom was cheating on my dad, and it kind of changed the family situation there. At 14, I did not get along with my mom's boyfriend, so she decided, let's kick him out. So the following day, received a garbage bag from the police, and they said, you got 5 minutes to go, grab your stuff, and you're out of there. And I had a dog, and your dog doesn't fit in the garbage bag. So, it's life-changing in a sense. Through that, moved in with my dad. He was, an alcoholic, a very angry man, and it was a very tough situation to live in. So through that, I started walking the broad road and just, started making the wrong choices and got involved in the wrong crowds and the drugs and the alcohol and the crime. And, my life literally hit destruction. I was just depressed. I was very bitter and angry and wasn't, a fun person to be around. And literally hit rock bottom in a sense near the end of high school. So kind of hopeless, looking for something. And the beauty part was, through that, one of my friends, he started going to a church in the neighborhood, and I grew up with him, and he started going because there were good-looking girls at the church, but whatever way to get in.
Yeah.
And he told me about this outreach program that the church was running at my high school. Now, I look athletically challenged. I don't look like a basketball player, but I grew up playing basketball. So when I found out they were renting the gym to play basketball, I decided, let's sign up, let's go for it, and play indoors. Through that, I met the youth pastor, Rob Lubbering Spencer, and he just started, caring for me. He started showing God's love, and even simple things like asking, how's your week going? How are you doing? We'll follow up on myself and what's going on in my life, take me out for lunch. And maybe for the first time in a long time, I had someone in my life that was interested in investing. And through him, I was able to see the love of God and open me up to the idea of going to church and maybe checking out what church was all about. So he invited me to a church, and they had your traditional service and your contemporary service. And of course, he invites me to the traditional service. So I went in there, I'm standing there with a hymn book, confused, reading different syllables, didn't understand why the words weren't all connected in one. And I've had this experience with church where I realized this is probably not for me. However, seeing the people at church, and especially the young people at church, I knew something was real. I knew they had that hope. I knew they had something I did not have, which kept me connected with the church and popping in and out, living a double life for a while. Through that situation, Rob, one day, he said, I'm planning a mission trip down to Mexico. Now, I didn't know what a mission trip was. I thought it was a trip and mission was the theme.
Yeah.
Like Mission Impossible was big back then. Maybe just a Mission Impossible theme trip. So I'm thinking I'm going to a nice resort down in Mexico. So I signed up, and we went down there working with orphans and working with the poor and building stuff and whatnot. And when we were down there on a Wednesday night, March 13th, 2002, the pastor who was speaking at chapel, he gave a gospel message. And for the first time, it may have been the first time I heard the complete gospel message altogether. And he gave us altar call and said, anyone who wants to give their life to Christ, come walk up to the front. Now, nothing in a billion years was ever going to get me up to the front in front of all of those people. So I kind of awkwardly stayed in my chair looking around, maybe hoping someone else would get up there. But later that night, I went to my room and I just started praying to God. And I really told him, Lord, I tried doing life my way. This is where it ended up. I want to do life your way and be obedient and give my life to you. And I'm crying like a baby, and like my street credibility was over at that point. But that night down in Mexico, gave my life to Christ. And through that, coming back to Toronto, the Bible talks about becoming a new creation, how old things passed away, and all these temptations, disappeared, and didn't touch alcohol again, or the drugs and the crime, and God really, literally changed my life. And all of a sudden, I had a smile on my face. My awesome, weird humor started, showing up, and it's just amazing to see how God can literally change your life. Which connects to why I do what I do.
Beautiful story. Yeah. Crossroads is going to sponsor the youth conference, the teen conference at the Meeting House in Oakville. Yes. You're going to be speaking there. We've also had a real heart as a ministry because we've been producing documentaries. We're going to show clips of some of them at the February 22 youth conference, Inside Teenage Suicide. We've profiled teenage killers across North America. We've talked about prescription drug abuse that's not regulated. And yeah, I mean, the themes that I look at these documentaries that Crossroads has produced, and they literally are an arsenal for youth pastors, because look at both coasts, Ratea Parsons in Halifax and Amanda Todd in BC. And both of them, in a sense, typecast just what a tough world it is for kids in Canada. Sure. One, 14 million views, third most Google name, and the other, Facebook responds now with an anti-bullying site. It's a precarious world for youth.
Yes, it is. It is. And the beautiful part of today's teen conference, which is coming up, is you have ministry experts across the country coming together and addressing these issues that teenagers go through, and also training youth leaders across, Southern Ontario. How do we minister to these needs? And, being a speaker and kind of traveling, you understand there is a need, and we are in a broken world and a postmodern world, and people are looking for answers. And when they're told religion or God is not the answer, they kind of are looking all around. So I think we need people to be intentional, to bring the hope of Jesus to their lives,
You remember Dawson McAllister gave that famous statement that he told a kid about Jesus in an American high school, and the kid said, "Jesus, who's that? I've never heard of him." And that's the world that we are in.
I agree.
And I do want to remind our viewers that Johnny Alexic, one of our very talented producers here, and myself are going to be at that teen conference February 22, presenting the different clips and giving a contribution. You're going to be keynoting it.
Yeah, they have me as a keynote speaker, which is an amazing opportunity.
So if 60 seconds or less, tell us what you're going to say.
Yeah, so the theme of the whole conference is together. How do we come together? How do we work together to share the love of Jesus and share Jesus with our friends? Sometimes we have the individual mindset just about me, but this conference, we're going to have the theme, working together, coming together as one, and how can we play a part, put this in action, explain what are we actually sharing, and hopefully motivate people and encourage them to go out, go into the world, and really make a difference and bring Jesus to the people. Because I believe Jesus can change lives, and we want to let people know he wants to use them to be a part of that.
Man, we are delighted that you're here, and we thank Youth Unlimited because they're putting on the teen conference again Saturday, February 22 at the Meeting House in Oakville. I want to really issue the call to youth pastors all over the nation to come. And those that are volunteer youth leaders, it'll be a very, very special conference. If our Lord was alive today, I am convinced he would be a youth pastor reaching out to this generation.